All right, let's talk about something we have all felt, but probably never really stopped to think about. Goosebumps. Why in the world does our skin suddenly bubble up like that? Let's get into it.
You know the feeling, right? You step outside on a chilly morning and boom, before you even really feel the shiver, your skin just reacts.
Or, how about this? You're watching a horror movie. You know the jump scare is coming, and right on cue, you feel that same prickly sensation crawling up your arms and the back of your neck. And then there's the weirdest one of all. That perfect moment in a song, or an incredible scene in a movie, or even just a powerful memory, and there they are again. So, a cold breeze, a scary monster, and a beautiful song? What could those three things possibly have in common? Why do they all trigger the exact same strange, physical response in our bodies? Let's break it down.
To really get what's going on, we have to zoom in. I mean, way in, to the microscopic level. Turns out, this whole thing comes down to one tiny invisible muscle.
So meet the star of our show, the arrector pili muscle. Every single little hair on your body has one of these things attached to its base. And when your body sends out a signal, this muscle contracts and it literally pulls the hair so it stands straight up. That little pull is what makes the skin pucker around it. And that pucker, that's what we call a goosebump.
But here's where it gets really interesting. For an animal with a lot of fur, like a cat or a bear, this muscle contracting is a huge deal. It fluffs up their coat to trap heat, or it makes them look way bigger to scare off a predator. But for us, with our, not so furry bodies, the effect is, well, it's pretty much just a bunch of bumps. It's a small, ancient reflex. So why do we still have it? To figure that out, we have to go way back in time. Let's look at the first big reason for this whole reflex. Just trying to survive the cold. So long before we had jackets or central heating, our ancestors were, well, a lot hairier, and they really depended on this mechanism to stay warm. When those arrector pili muscles would contract, all that raised hair would trap a little layer of air right against the skin, and that trapped air acted like a natural, built-in puffy jacket holding in their body heat.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It explains why the reflex feels so useless for us now. We still have the muscles, and they still fire off for more cold, but without that thick coat of fur, they just can't trap enough air to make any real difference. It's an evolutionary echo, a command being sent to a system that's not really there anymore.
But okay, staying warm was only half the job for this tiny muscle. It also played a huge part in another really important survival situation, facing down a threat.
This is classic fight-or-flight stuff. When an animal gets threatened, its body just floods with adrenaline. That adrenaline rush triggers those same arrector pili muscles, making every single hair stand on end. And the goal is super simple. Puff yourself up, look bigger, look more dangerous than you actually are, and hopefully scare that predator away.
I mean, you see this all the time in the animal kingdom, right? A startled cat that suddenly looks twice its size, a porcupine raising its quills, a gorilla making a threat display. They are all using the exact same reflex. The little mechanism that makes their fur stand up is identical to the one that gives us goosebumps when we're scared.
Okay, so we've covered being cold and we've covered being scared. From a survival point of view, that all makes total sense. But that brings us to the biggest mystery of all. Why do we get goosebumps from a beautiful song or a moving scene in a film?
Believe it or not, scientists actually have a name for this. It's called aesthetic chills. It's a real, recognized physiological response to things that we find, deeply beautiful or meaningful. This has nothing to do with traditional survival. This is something totally different.
So what's going on here? Well, when you experience that amazing thing, that song, that piece of art, your brain's reward center just lights up and releases a flood of dopamine. That's the feel-good chemical. This emotional peak is so intense that it actually hijacks the part of your nervous system that controls your fight or flight response. So in a weird way, your brain is reacting to overwhelming beauty with the same intensity as it would to a sudden threat. It's triggering those exact same ancient muscles. It is literally emotion made physical.
Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. What's the big takeaway here?
When you really look at it, goosebumps are this perfect little window into our own evolutionary past. They're what's called a vestigial trait, something that isn't really essential for our survival anymore, but it just sticks around. That tiny muscle is still faithfully doing its job, just like it did for our ancestors millions of years ago. Whether it's trying to fight off the cold, face down a threat,
Or in this fascinating modern twist, reacting to a powerful emotional high.
I mean, just think about that for a second. This isn't just some random quirk. It's a physical message from your own deep past. It's a little reminder of a time when we were covered in fur, when threats were around every corner, and when our emotional responses were hardwired directly into our physical survival.
So the next time you feel the hair on your arm stand up while you're listening to your favorite song, just remember what's actually happening. It's not just a chill. It's this complex, amazing echo from an ancient version of you, a whisper across millions of years, connecting your modern experience to our most primal ancient instincts. And that's the explanation.